This is June 20th, 2007, and I'm Joe Bruckner, and I'm at the home of Mr. Clifford Martin, who has kindly agreed to sit down with us and tell us about his experiences in life, and particularly in World War II. And Mr. Martin, I want to thank you very much for taking your time to do this.
Great. I enjoy it.
Well, I know we're going to enjoy it. Could you give us your full name, where you were born, and your birth date?
My name is Clifford R. Martin, M-A-R-T-I-N. I was born in 5202 Neosho, N-E-O-S-H-O, St. Louis, Missouri. It was my grandfather's home, and it's still there today.
Wow.
So you know it was well made.
No doubt about that.
There was 3 or 4 homes on the street. They're still there, large homes.
When were you born? What is your birth date?
June the 26th, 1920.
So you have a birthday coming up.
Yes, I have a birthday coming up.
And where do you live now? What is your current address?
11310 West Road in Roswell, Georgia.
Okay. Mr. Martin, tell us a little bit about your upbringing and your family.
I was the only child. That was a mistake. But I had a great-grandmother and a great-grandfather, which we lived with. And my dad was a traveling man, so he was out most of the time. And I didn't get to see him as much as I would have liked to have. He was an engineer, sheet metal worker, and I learned a lot from him. In fact, there's a lot of things I want to see today, I want to do, that I know how to do. Of course, today my legs are no good.
Yeah.
It's like everything else, something goes bad and then you don't have a way of doing it. But I enjoyed life, and I saw a lot and did a lot.
Did you go to school in St. Louis?
I went to school in St. Louis. I went to 4 different high schools. My folks moved around, and I ended up graduating from one high school, and my wife graduated the same night from another high school. So it was unusual.
Yeah.
We weren't married, but we were going together. And then from there, I went to Washington University in the School of Fine Arts. And oh, I thought I was the best artist in the world until I saw all those fellows from Disney. They were great. You couldn't beat them. And I thought, why am I busy trying to beat those people? And my mother came over to see how I was doing. And when she saw me in there drawing pictures of girls in the nude, she says, "You have no business being there." And I agreed with her. But it was something different.
Now, what did you do after you got out of Washington University?
I went to Emerson Electric, and I got a job right away for gun turret. It was a gun turret, bottom ball gun turret for B-29.
So the turrets, the gun turrets that are on the bottom of the plane.
Right.
And you were working on the design of that?
Yes, and I was working on the
Mechanical drawings, the draftings?
Yeah, the drafting of it. The whole trouble with it is I don't remember too much exactly what I did, but it was the most important part of my life right there.
Yeah.
And I did so much, and I enjoyed it. And I had 3 or 4 fellows working under me. I don't even remember their names. But then I decided that we weren't getting along, we weren't moving. So I said, okay, let's go down and join up.
Now, when was this? Approximately what year? Do you?
What year?
Obviously early 40s. Had the war already started by then?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So I went down town in St. Louis, and I went in and I told the fellow I wanted to join up to the Marines. So he checked me out and passed me all the way down the line and said, okay, all I had to do was sign there, and I was a Marine. And all my buddies were too. So I said, well, I didn't want to be one, I just wanted to see if I could pass the test. And he said, well, what are you going to do? I said, well, I'm going to go across the hall and join the Navy. He said, you are? He said, I know the chief over there, and he said, I'll see you get the worst duty there is. And you know, you wonder about what you're saying. And I went across the hall and joined up, and he said, okay, you come back here in the next day or two, and we'll get on the train and we'll go up to Idaho. And I thought, what am I going to Idaho for? You know, you think I'm going in the Navy, why go to Idaho? And it turned out to be a very pretty place, and I enjoyed it. And I ended up, I sent for my wife, and we got married up there. Yeah.
Now, what type of training were you undergoing in Idaho? What were they training you to do?
Well, I thought they didn't know what they were training. They put me in, gave me a gun, and had me out in snow, but waist deep.
Why don't you show them a couple pictures of what Idaho looked like in there?
Oh, yeah, this is Idaho.
Farragut, Idaho.
That's beautiful. I had a nice group of people working there.
They got a couple of pictures of
That's before he was officially a Navy photographer. When he went to Farragut, he was, you were in basic, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And remember what you told me the other day was that you...
I worked for Ross Hall there.
Okay. And he worked with the photographer up in Farragut, and before he knew it, he was taking such nice pictures that you found yourself going to the captain of the base at doing his Christmas pictures?
Yeah.
You remember that story?
Yeah, the captain of the base had me over to his house to take his pictures of he and his wife and daughter for a Christmas card.
Well, these are beautiful pictures. You don't see pictures this old that are this clear normally. Now, where did you go after you were in Idaho? What was your next stop?
They got married in Idaho?
Yeah.
And it was a big deal. You know, he was on the base in Idaho for quite a while, but then...
And I wanted to be a photographer, official photographer, and this was my maid of honor.
So what you were telling me the other day, and I don't want to break your train of thought though, is that when you did the Christmas pictures, the commander said, hey, you're really quite a photographer.
Yeah.
And then you said, well, I'd like to be a professional photographer you'd like to be a Navy photographer.
Yeah.
And he said, well...
You have to go to Pensacola.
Okay.
And I said, okay. And he said, all right, but you have to go have your teeth examined right away. So I went in, and the dentist was a gentleman that I sold film to when I was down ship service. So he remembered me, and he was nice to me, and he replaced all my cavities except one or two, and he got another dentist to work overtime to get it done so I could leave the next morning.
So he rushed you through so you could get to the train to get to Pensacola, right?
Yeah. Okay. And my wife got on the same train, and we went 3 days down to Pensacola. Wow. And I got into class down in Pensacola, and I got all the pictures of that. Oh, I enjoyed that so much.
So here's you after Navy training, right? We're in Pensacola. Let him see it too, so he remembers the story.
Yeah.
He had showed it to me.
Oh, okay. And that's the camera that they told you that if you lose that camera, don't come back, right?
Yeah.
They said you better at least come back with the strap. Isn't that what they told me?
Yeah. You come back with the strap because you put the strap over your hand and hold it. You can see I'm not holding. Yeah,
you got that strap off. Yeah.
Well, at least if you came back with the strap, it proved that you were trying to hold on to it. And you just didn't leave it somewhere in the bar.
I had the thing shot out from under me.
Oh, I want to hear about that later.
Well,
Now, did you go somewhere after Pensacola before you went overseas?
Pensacola.
From Pensacola, you told me you had to go to Boston to advance.
Oh,
There were
yeah.
only 20 guys that finished as high as you,
Yeah,
and you all went to Boston.
yeah, the MIT,
MIT.
yeah. And they sent me over there for a vectograph school,
Now, what is that?
third dimensional.
Oh.
I never did use it. I wondered why. I got a diploma for it.
Well, they taught you how to do 3 different types of photography, is what you said first, right? Was that in Pensacola? What, they aerial and
Yeah, 3 different months of, I had 3 months in Pensacola
okay.
before I ever went to north.
Yeah. And do you remember who your teacher was up in Boston? You said the professor was Mr. Land, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the camera?
Yeah.
Land camera, Polaroid.
He ended up making a land camera. He hadn't made it yet, but he was a heck of a nice guy. And the thing was, the program that I did for him, the tests I did so easy and so quick. And one time I did them and found out that I messed it all up because I did it too quick. And he had to take it all over again. But I enjoyed working with Mr. Land.
Land.
He was a good man, good photographer. And this is when he made 5 stars.
That's
That's
Nimitz,
that's in his cabinet.
Let's go back to Land for a second. After Land, you went to where? To Chicago, or did they go? You went to San Francisco.
San Francisco.
Okay.
They got me in San Francisco and they put me on shore patrol.
shore patrol, okay.
And I don't know why. And I walked up and down the streets for 2 or 3 days. And that's a terrible city to have to walk up and down.
Do you have to break up fights and take people out of bars and that type of thing?
That's right. And I saw more things than I never dreamed of seeing. And
Can you talk about any of them?
no, most of them I shouldn't talk about. I saw fellas loving girls right up against plate glass windows, right on the street. And I ended up by,
And they sent you over to the base over at Oakland.
yeah.
And
Yeah, I got over to the base in Oakland, and I was there for 2 or 3 days, and finally they came in one morning and hollered attention, and everybody jumps up, and I'm laying in the sack taking it easy. And he said, who's the master of arms of the base? Nobody knew. And he said, who's the highest rated man here, and who's been here the longest? And nobody knew. Finally, they said Martin. And so I ended up, I was in charge of the base.
that's when they taught you how to volunteer, right?
Yeah. And anyway, they had me up there, and everybody was doing my laundry and doing everything they could for me to keep themselves off of some duties trouble.
So then they assigned you to a ship, right? They finally you got bored, and you said, "How do I get in the Navy and get on a ship?" Right?
Yeah. And then they sent me to what?
The Enterprise.
Yeah, I went on the Enterprise for a while. I was on 2 or 3 different ships before I got situated and got out to Guam, out to Pearl. Then when I got out to Pearl, they put me in the Admiral's staff.
And here's the Admiral's barge, right?
Yeah, that's in Pearl Harbor.
Uh-huh.
You want to hold those up? We can get those on the camera.
Okay.
Or I'll hold them up.
Admiral who?
Admiral Nimitz's barge. A barge is
Wow.
when the admiral owns it. It's the same ship if a captain owns it, but it's called a gig. Anyway, the fellows were nice fellows, and I enjoyed them, and I gave them some pictures, and consequently they let me run the boat around in Pearl Harbor. And you know, you have no business running a boat around in Pearl Harbor with all those big ships going on. I did things that I shouldn't have done.
Well, you were always doing things you shouldn't have done, isn't that the fact?
Yeah.
Did you talk, when you were at Pearl Harbor, did you ever talk to anybody that had been there when Pearl Harbor was bombed?
I probably did. I saw all the pictures of all the different ships where they were. It wouldn't be in that book.
No, this is after you left Pearl Harbor, you got into action, right?
Now tell us about, when did you find out you were leaving Pearl Harbor and going overseas, and actually going to the war zone? Or not so much when, but what was your feeling when you heard you were going?
When they told me I was leaving Pearl Harbor, they told me I was going to Guam because that's where the Admiral was going.
Good.
And Admiral Nimitz, he got his house on top of the, overlooking the water.
Overlooking Pearl Harbor, though, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't Pearl Harbor.
Oh, that was Guam, that
That
picture?
was Guam.
Okay.
You-
I don't know where that picture is. I'll look for it.
Okay.
I didn't know what that house was, but there's a picture of Dad in the front yard of Admiral Nimitz's house.
Well, why don't you tell us, starting from the time you got into Guam, just tell us about your experiences from that point forward in the war, where you were and what you did. And
Well, they sent me so many different places, and most of the time I didn't know where I was going next. And I took pictures, and if they weren't happy about it, they sent me someplace else again. They were busy all the time. I think I have most of the pictures.
Why don't you look through a few pictures, Dad? It'll help you remember some of the stories, because I know you were in all the invasions, is what you said.
Well, this was in Hawaii. This was the plane that they put the first
Rocket engines.
rocket engines on, and these are the pictures that were taken off. That's at Kaneohe.
this one.
Yeah, there's a picture of the plane taken off as a rocket.
Yeah.
Well, you know what we could do.
But we're out of sequence in the context of that, because that's
Yeah.
certainly later in the war.
You know, I know there were specific places where big events went on where you were, and I believe you were in. This might not be chronological, but you were in Okinawa at one point. Is that right?
Yeah, if you back up before Okinawa, he was in Iwo Jima,
Okay.
he was in
Well,
Saipan, he was in a lot of he says he was in all the major invasions, because
Tell us what you were doing when you were just general at Saipan, Iwo Jima. What was your role, and what were you doing while you were
Going
there?
in on invasions, shooting pictures of the fellows going in. And every time I got something different, I thought I had the picture of the year.
Now you were under fire when you were doing this.
Oh,
weren't you?
yeah.
Were you ever scared?
these are Guam, Dad.
I'm always scared. I just went ahead.
There's the kind of battle photography that he didn't have a choice but to make. Sometimes he's in the airplane shooting, and sometimes he's on the ground
That
shooting.
looks like the capture of a Japanese soldier, I would guess. Let's talk about Iwo Jima, because I know you were there. Can you give us any recollections you have of being on Iwo Jima, and what you saw, what you experienced?
I sure can.
Well, let me help remind you. You were there. You said the fighting was so bad that you had to hide out in the foxhole with your buddies.
Oh, that was going
'Cause
up
you only
Mount
had the little-
Suribachi flag raising.
Really?
Joe Rosenthal and I were going up the hill, and we got 3/4 of the way up there, and all of a sudden there was so much shooting going on that we were going to be shot. So he said, "What are we going to do?" And I said, "I don't know." And finally I said, "Here's an opening right here, let's go in here." And we went in there, and come to find out it was a place where it hadn't been opened up in 3,000 years. It was a place where people were buried.
The crypt.
Really?
And so we went in there, and we were in there for 3 days and didn't know where we were and didn't have anything to eat or anything. And when we came out, everything was all right.
Mm-hmm.
Then we went on to the signing.
Now you saw the flag being raised and
Oh,
the
yeah.
famous, could you?
They raised it, and then they raised it the second time and the third time. The first time, it was with all the different people, and the third time, I think they had all Marines.
Were you taking pictures?
I took movies of some of them, and I took stills of some of them, and Joe Rosenthal took the famous one, and he was a nice friend. And in fact, I was supposed to go see him when I was up in New York later on, and I had my wife and my little girl along, and we didn't go. Why, I don't know. My wife says, oh, we don't know them. You know, and we were supposed to go over to, whose house was it?
I don't remember now.
I think you mentioned to me you were also supposed to go to,
The Kennedys.
no,
Kennedy, what?
no, not Kennedy. It was, he was the governor later. I can't think of his name right now.
Lodge?
No, forgive me.
See, my memory is,
My memory is much better.
You're remembering this very well. It was a long time ago.
well, the thing was, I was invited over by Joe Rosenthal to go to dinner. And he said, bring your wife and child with you. And I thought, well, you know, this is swell. And I turned around, my wife said, oh, I don't know any of those people. They're all from New York, and they're all big shots. And she said, I don't have the right clothing to wear. And she said, I don't know. And I said, well, I don't know. And then my daughter wanted to get a soda, and she went down the hall, and it was a quarter. And I thought, my gosh, a quarter for a soda out of the machine.
I'm going to jump to another event, and we can come back. But I understand that you were involved when we dropped the bombs on Japan, the atomic bomb. Can you describe what your role was, that you actually witnessed it?
Well, I wasn't supposed to be over there, but World War II bomb dropping on the Army on Japan was off of Guam. And I went over there, and I'd say to those fellows, how about a chance to go with you? And they'd say, okay, and they'd take me along. Nobody ever knew I was there or going because I had no business being there. And when I'd come back that day, I'd just go back to where I belonged. And I was high enough and it didn't matter, nobody missed me. And so then the next time I'd go back again. So one day I went back and said, I'm going with you to bomb Japan. And they said, no, we're not going today. I said, how comes? He said, well, we didn't do so good yesterday. You got that picture?
Yeah, that's an earlier bombing, but yeah, I don't know. I can't grab it in a second, but I'll find it.
Anyway, he said, we're not going back over there because we didn't do so good yesterday. And come to find out, they bombed the heck out of that plane, and it's a good thing they got back.
No, I'll find it.
That's the plane that was damaged?
Yeah, that was that plane I showed you. I think it's in there, actually. I just showed you. Oh, here it is. Here's the guys all piled up on the back of the plane.
Yeah.
Right, but he was on all sorts of B-29s.
They were all on that plane, and I thought that was great.
Yeah.
So I took a picture of them, and I sent one print to each one, so they could send it home to their wife or to their mother.
Well, that's great that you did that.
Well, it's just something I thought was nice to do. And I wasn't in the Army. I had no business being there. This was a Navy captain. He's got a head down there of a Japanese, half a head.
Well, I think we should get that on there. That's war.
Yeah, a lot of those shots are Iwo, and there's this book here is just filled with pictures from Iwo.
Well,
Now, I just, oh, excuse me.
yeah, that's all right.
I understand that were you in the plane, either the Enola Gay or one of the others that actually dropped the atomic bomb? And you took pictures of it?
Here's some of the pictures.
Now these are pictures that are taken later on. I don't think so.
This was of Tokyo, I think.
Okay, yeah. This is after the bomb.
That's absolutely bombed. I don't know what that
That's
is.
August 45.
Okay.
That's all I want.
Not the Enola Gay though. The other one
That's
was
got
the
something on the back
Nagasaki.
there.
Nagasaki.
Okay.
That's got a caption on the back.
And this is Kure, K-U-R-E airfield of the Japanese home island on Japan.
Yeah. And here's
21st of March.
See, I wasn't supposed to be there.
March 10th, and that's Okinawa.
Okay. These are all pictures you took.
Yeah, and here's smoke, atomic bomb smoke rising.
Okay. Yeah. What was your feeling when you were in the plane and the bombs were being dropped? I mean, you remember what your emotions were?
No, I took aerial school down in Pensacola, and I just did like I did down there. And the thing was that I had a chance there to take the pictures, and I did. Whether they were any good or not, I don't know.
Oh, they're good.
This one was hanging on Nimitz's wall, by the way, and there's a photograph of Nimitz in his office, which, again, there's just so many pictures I'd have to dig to find it.
This is another.
This one here is something I just took on my own. Nobody ever saw that picture anyplace else.
And where was this taken?
It was taken in Japan. It just looked good, and I shot it.
The local Japanese.
This
people.
was taken up in Tokyo. That was all correspondence, and that's Tokyo Rose.
Okay.
Mhm.
I used to listen to her every night. Thought that was the greatest thing in the world.
A lot of the photos that I've been going through I've been discovering them on the internet, and that file folder over there has a lot of these that are in the Library of Congress already, or the National Archives.
But this one is nothing. He just looked interesting.
Well, that is. I think it is something because it shows these people after the war.
That's the way they look.
Yeah. When you were taking the pictures of Tokyo Rose, did she say anything or show any emotion, or do you
Not
remember?
at that time, no. These people I knew, but I didn't know them other than friends. And this was up in Japan. I forgot where it was. Well, it was an officer. See that? I tried to write on things and send them back to my mother, but I didn't always manage to do that.
Now, I understand another very significant event that took place had you as a witness, and that's the official surrender of Japan to the United States. Were you present there?
On the Missouri Day?
Yeah, I got all.
I believe there's a picture.
Yeah, there's a whole book of it. I'll show.
Do you have any recollections of that when that was taking place? Your feelings or what everybody was doing on the ship?
There were all different places, and I was right. This is the one that's got it in.
No, it's this one, I think.
Yeah,
There you go.
okay.
Is this Missouri?
Yeah.
That's in Guam.
That's the Missouri in Guam, or is that the Missouri in
Oh,
let's see, what does that say?
Yeah, here's one.
Missouri, I can't read it upstairs. Upside down.
The USS Missouri, Admiral William Halsey's flagship, anchoring at Sababiwan, August 27th, 1945.
Yeah.
Well, I tried to write things down,
Yeah,
but I
that's
didn't know.
glad you did.
Now, you're,
Okay, you took this picture, is this correct?
yeah.
The one right here?
Mhm.
Okay, let's get this on here because this, I believe this is the Japanese delegation that actually surrendered. And you were there to take that picture?
Yeah, but there was about 5 or 6 photographers all around me too.
Yeah.
All kinds of photographers. I don't know who they were, where they came from. Were they supposed to be there or not?
Were there a lot of troops out on the ship watching this?
Oh, yeah, I got pictures of that too.
What, could you tell what they're?
Now, Leif Erikson, the guy playing the high chaparral, he was a photographer and he took my picture when I was taking this one of MacArthur and Nimitz.
So Leif Erikson is up here in the
Here he is up here.
in the rigging.
Oh, okay.
He was shooting movies down there. And I was right against the wire. That was the end of it. That was back
His back was
against the side of the ship.
against the side of the ship because he's taking these photographs. So Dad appears in the others. You want?
Yeah.
Good. You want to point to you?
Well, you can't see Dad because he's taking the picture. But this is which one is that? I can't read from the angle. Leif Erikson's up here in the rigging taking motion pictures, and Dad appears obviously on the opposite side of the ship.
And this is the Japanese foreign minister signing the articles of surrender.
Right, and there's the delegation, and here's MacArthur,
That was when I made chief, and they took it away.
and here's Nimitz.
I don't know, I never did find that out why. That was the chief
Yeah, tell us about this picture. You say that's when you made chief?
that's when I made chief. And they gave me the rate of chief, and then they ended up, and about a month later, they took it away from me.
Well, did they take it away, or they just never gave you the pay?
I don't know. And here's the picture I took, and it tells you on the inside.
That's Admiral Nimitz, right when he was announcing that, or they announced his 5 stars, right? And if you open it up, you'll see there's acknowledgement for Dad.
Down here.
Oh, yes, okay.
I thought that was great because,
Yeah.
you know, you
Photo
take,
by Clifford B. Martin. That's what that says there, Admiral Nimitz.
you say you take these pictures, but, you know, you take so many pictures and by the time they're developed and you go through them, who knows who took what?
Well, that's right. Of all your experiences, you were present at some of the more significant events in World War II. What's the one that stands out more than anything to you? What you witnessed, what you saw?
Well, I enjoyed going back over it. See, I belonged to the Friendship Force with Jimmy Carter. And I went back with him to the different countries with my wife. And I got to see things that you saw before, and you didn't really see them
Oh.
because you were so busy. Now I was going down in Germany, and the fellow pulls up with his limousine and stops right at the front door of the what would I say?
The hotel or
No,
the embassy?
the embassy.
Oh.
And I said, "Oh, you can't park here." I said, "The sign there says for boating." And he looked at me and laughed. And here I am. I'm with the admiral or chief, the lieutenant commander or wherever he was, and he was taking my wife and myself down to the place, I told him that he couldn't park there.
There aren't a lot of records that we can find that compliment Dad for all these incredible photographs, but this one in particular we just discovered, and it is from the commander, and it says exemplary service record entry for Clifford Martin, the subject named through his commitment and competent craftsmanship was in part responsible for the great success in the pictorial presentation of Iwo Jima, Okinawa, and various fleet actions since January 45. While attached to SINCPAC Pictorial Section Photographic Laboratories, Pearl Harbor, and Guam, he also helped in the processing of all the Japanese surrender activity negatives. Without the high quality of output from this man and others in the laboratory, the pictorial presentation of the actions in the U.S. Pacific Fleet to the public would have been made more difficult.
Well, you should be very proud of that. I mean, you play a major role.
Anyhow, this is from SINCPAC, and
Get that on here. Now I'm going to come back and we're going to go over these pictures another day and
Sure.
maybe make some copies for the History Center if you don't have any objection.
No,
But did
the thing was,
when you oh, excuse me.
I tried to keep pictures of that I took. You know, when you're busy
All right.
all the time, you're trying to go in there and take them yourself and print them yourself. You never know if you're going to have it later on. I was looking at these, how awful they look.
No, they look good to me.
Well, look at this, it's dark and darker, and this is washed out.
Dad, one of the things that I remember that you always said is how many photographers you went away with, and the fact that you never thought you'd be coming back, and I think there were only 2 of you that actually survived, of the photographers that you went to war with.
Yeah, talk about that. That's interesting.
Remember, I mean, there were so many of them that went, and you really never really thought you were actually gonna live through it. And there were only 2 of you
Joe
that
Rosenthal
survived.
that time?
When you went overseas, did you feel like you were going to come back alive?
I never gave him much thought.
Was there any time while you were over there that you really felt you might not make it back?
I really can't say. I just thought I was the best photographer in the world. This was the guy I liked the most. These were my officers. The thing was, I didn't push the right way or I would have been an officer. Instead, I just went along with whatever they did with me. And if I took a good picture, they pushed me out that way.
When you were going through Iwo Jima and Okinawa and Saipan and all these different areas where there was so much fighting going on, did you realize you were part of one of the
No.
greatest events that's ever occurred? Or?
No. I really didn't realize what I was doing. I was just going along with whatever came up.
Dad's very modest.
Yeah.
No.
this, he I think is feeling on the hot spot right now because I mean these shots are. What, Dad? You want to flip through pictures and talk about them?
These are some of the last ones. See, I was in 2 wars. This was a ship I was on in the Korean War.
Oh, you were in Korea also?
Yeah.
Oh.
And this looking down in the elevator, I'm playing ball, and this is that evening, I think there was an empty seat right in the center somewhere,
There is, right there.
and that's where I was gonna sit. See the
Was this
movie.
on the Siboney?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's on the Siboney.
So you had a plank on the Siboney also. I've seen the certificate. That means that you helped launch the Siboney.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Was your role as a photographer in the Korean War also?
Yeah,
Do you have any recollections of your experiences there in Korea?
the thing was, told them I wanted to go out in the Atlantic. And they put me on this ship because it was going out in the Atlantic. And I'd been all through the Pacific, so I wanted to go out in the Atlantic. And they sent me all over through Mediterranean. And I was in on everything that they had over there at the Mediterranean that was going on.
Wow.
I got to see everything. And I never will forget the time the captain or whoever was in charge, he said, I want you to go get on the plane and go as high as you can and take pictures of what's going on down there.
Huh.
Well, you know, no matter how high you get to take pictures down there, I don't know what I'm doing. I didn't know what I was aiming at.
Are you talking about in Japan now, or are you talking about
No, I was
in Europe?
Mediterranean.
Okay.
Mediterranean.
Okay.
The thing is, they didn't explain to me what I was going to do. Sometimes they had the information. The thing is, I wasn't able to grab pictures and keep them in order.
Well,
Okay.
you were in the middle of combat, so it was sort of hard to do that. wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Well, the combat wasn't in the Mediterranean during
No,
the
but
Korean War, but these are in,
Well, I tried to get captions on them if I could.
yeah, these are all Pacific, sink pack. So, you got the launching of, planes from the carrier decks. Those are also hangar planes. Isn't that
Oh, yeah.
where we would launch it off of that
There it
hangar?
is right here.
That's a seaplane.
It's LSO. Nobody gave those guys any credit. So I thought I was being nice, you know.
Yeah, you had to be pretty goofy to want to take off on a plane on a hook, huh?
Well, no, they were picking it up,
Oh.
taking it back.
Okay.
This is the plane coming up to it.
That's landing in the ocean and then they pull it back
That's
in.
a LSO-2U Kingfisher. It's a wingspan of 54 feet, and it doesn't go very fast. Observation.
Of those original men that were with you as photographers, when you first went into the service, have you been able to keep up with any of those guys over
Never
the years?
tried to. A couple of them did contact me during the time, but later on my wife wasn't interested in my running around with Navy men. She was afraid I'd join up again. Well, you know, you join up and after you get out, then what do? I thought, well, I'll do what everybody else does. I'll go over to the bar and see how everybody's getting along. I got over to the bar, I didn't see anybody. Everybody was killed.
You want to talk about all your friends on Guam? These city pictures of when you were based on Guam?
Well, that's Tinian.
Tinian?
Yeah, that's a city on the local part of Guam. Very nice place. I'm sure other people took pictures of that,
Yeah,
but I was trying to be artistic.
yeah. This shot here is interesting because it shows them, it says on the back that they're blowing up caves on Guam, and they didn't realize there were Japanese soldiers still in them.
Yeah,
They thought that they had it secure and then there would still be Japanese soldiers that would come flying out.
Did you see much of that?
yes, I did. I saw quite a bit of it, but didn't know what I was seeing. Now, here I am again, and this was the lady that her whole family was killed.
Oh.
This is her grandmother. There she is there.
So,
And every time I came around the island, she lived on, what the devil was the name of that city?
Agana?
No, Tinian, I think. No?
Merizo. Marizo? Well,
Lorenzo,
her name is Rosa Cruz.
Rosa Cruz, that's her name. And this is her grandmother, and there she is, and there I am with a little
So
16mm movie.
let's talk about that a little bit. Do you remember any of the interaction you had with people like that on the islands or on the places, the local people that you got to know or associate with?
Well, they were in the city of, I think it was Maritza.
I never heard that name before.
That's where that picture was taken.
Oh, is that what it said, Maritza? Okay.
Anyway, I went around there and saw her and saw them, and then what I remember, all of a sudden I forget it. But
Well, here's an interesting picture that you took. This is looks like it's a Japanese soldier being interrogated. Is that,
these are Japanese war prisoners.
okay.
In the war camp.
You remember anything about your experiences when you saw these Japanese soldiers?
Well, I used to go in there and look and see what they were doing and take pictures like this, and then I'd give them prints later on, and they would show me how to make a fan or something else
Huh.
that they were used to making at home.
Really?
Yeah, and they, would be friendly.
Yeah.
You know, what do you got to lose? I was always curious. Always. Now this is some officers' clubs.
Okay.
Two buildings I thought were pretty.
So they were soldiers just like you were, I guess.
Yeah.
the Japanese.
Yeah. And the thing was that if I took their pictures and talked to them, it was great.
So you actually gave them copies of the pictures to take home with them?
Right, right. You know, you don't know whatever happened to what they had.
Yeah.
Now, where are those pictures I have with all those Japanese together?
I think we've got some here.
Yeah, you see, they did things I couldn't understand. Now, this is they always took a girl along with them.
Are these prisoners of war, POW?
Yeah, he's talking about
Geisha girl there.
Mm-hmm.
So she was captured too. I guess she was a POW
Yeah,
too.
yeah. But this was in the hut there,
Yeah.
and this fellow here, he showed me how to do some drawings and stuff that I never saw before.
So he was a Japanese artist.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you said you went back to some of the countries. Did you go back to Japan?
No, I never. This was on Guam.
Or what, did you go back to Guam?
In the
No,
in the
no.
friendship force you're talking about?
No, I never went back to Guam in the friendship force. We went back different places wherever they sent us. And I went back with Lorraine.
You went to Korea.
Yeah, I got those on slides and other things.
Uh-huh.
Now,
You didn't get those.
No, I didn't. I didn't pull those out. Here's a Japanese prisoner of war getting his teeth fixed, right?
Yeah.
what was your favorite camera that you used?
A 4x5. Oh, God.
The speed graphic.
Yeah, speed graphic. This was Admiral Nimitz's plane, and this was two of the wheels. I forgot what the deal was there. They were arguing about what they were going to publish. This is Associated Press man, I believe.
Did you keep any of the cameras that you had during the war, or did you have to turn those all in?
No, I don't have any cameras at all.
Now, when did you find out?
This,
Oh, excuse me.
this is on Guam.
When did you find out that you were going to be released from the military? Were you still overseas?
Yeah,
Good.
I was on Guam.
Were you on Guam when the war ended?
Yeah.
Okay. What was your feeling when you found out the war was over?
Well, I was amazed, and when they said I was going home, and I spent over 3 years, that was my base.
Yeah, there's a photograph that I showed you earlier, I guess.
That's pictures of Guam.
Yeah,
This is the island over there. This was where they had a ship over there during the, This was, oh God, my memory's shot.
Yeah, it's hard to remember. I can't remember our pictures I took last year.
I know I used to go out and go in the water here. It was about 3 or 4 feet deep.
Really?
And I used to get shells. And if you get out here farther, it went down 3 miles down or something like
Really?
that.
yeah, you're talking about, I guess, the trench, the ocean trench.
Well, I was told not to go.
I'm looking for the picture of the guys, I think it's in here. When they announced that the war was over.
Oh, yeah. While we're looking for the picture, what was the reaction of everybody when they found out the war was over? You and your buddies. They celebrate?
Here it is. The war is over.
That picture went to everywhere.
It's a great picture.
Well, that was in Guam.
It says this picture was published in all the papers of the world in a few magazines, Life, Yank, and some others. Revised after we heard the news at 11 a.m. August 11th, 1945.
Yeah, I don't remember those dates now.
No, it's hard. It's great that you kept a record of it.
Well,
When you got back to the States, to the United States, did you leave the military?
I really don't remember now.
But you did not make the military a
No,
career.
No, I came home. I don't remember where I went or what I did.
Well, you came home to St. Louis,
Yeah,
and you went and you interviewed with Todd, right?
yeah, I went and interviewed and took a job right away with a photographer, the best one in St. Louis.
And throughout your career, were you involved in photography?
There I was. I went in and told him I wanted to be hired by him, and he said, well, he wasn't hiring anybody. And I said, well, I'm the best photographer in St. Louis. And I said, I want to be hired. And he says, well, when can you start to work? And I think it was on a Friday afternoon, around 2 or 3 o'clock. And I said, right now. And he said, okay. He said, I'll hire you. He said, if you had told me Saturday or Sunday or Monday, he said, I would have said no. But since you said right now, I said, I'll hire you. And so he hired me, and I was there for...
You and a couple of photographers eventually bought the studio,
Yeah,
and then you all turned it into a commercial studio, right?
I ended up,
And you owned the whole studio when
yeah,
you bought your other partners out, and you had clients like Falstaff and Anheuser-Busch and all those commercial type accounts. You took photographs of the arch being built for the city.
yeah.
You documented all that.
I got some of those pictures too.
Yeah. And all the aerial photography you did back then too, documenting things. Did all sorts of photography. Yeah. And you had Todd Studios for about 45 years, right?
I guess so. And the thing was, I didn't ever think about retiring or anything else. It just all happened.
Well, you've had a fascinating life.
Well, I guess it was. I was busy the whole time, and I told him I could do anything, and I never gave up.
Why'd you keep going on all those invasions? Did they ask you to do that, or they just said, we're
Well,
going?
we got something going now, you get some good pictures of it, and I said, sure,
Uh-huh. So away you went, huh?
sure.
And would you do that again?
Probably so, I'm dumb. I'm like Bingo here. He comes around and says hello and says he wants to be a friend. Now, this picture I cheated on. That was taken early in the morning, or early in the evening, I don't even remember which. And I put the dot there on the negative. And that isn't the sun or isn't the moon, it's something I did.
That's pretty creative that you could do that.
Well,
That's a beautiful picture, though.
well, I thought it was too, and I thought it needed that.
Is that off of a carrier? Or?
Yeah.
What carrier would that be? Would you remember?
Oh, I know this one here. Oh, that's the one you grabbed. That's the one.
Well, before we finish, I just want to, well, number one, I want to thank you for what you did for the country. It's obvious, based on what your son-in-law just read, that you provided a valuable service in the,
Well, I
in the war.
tried.
Well, you did.
The thing was, I didn't know what I was doing, but I kept everything they told me about it. Now, this is the same ship. They repaired this ship at sea, and it was pictured in the paper the other day.
Oh, yeah?
Wow.
That's the ship after they fixed it. That's the ship after it got...
It went through the sea.
Uh-huh.
The thing is, I was amazed to think that they could do that and then do it at sea.
Yeah, that is amazing.
And I think I had his name information on the back, didn't I?
USS Bennington. Caught in a June 5th typhoon.
Oh, okay.
Well, you know, they had no control over that.
Wow.
And, you know, what should they do?
Before we finish, is there anything else you'd like to tell us about your experiences during World War II or during
I'm
Korea?
ready to go again.
Good for you. Good for you.
I enjoyed it, saw everything I wanted to see. I never did move ahead as much as I thought I should, but it didn't matter.
Well, you were a real hero being in the line of fire. You had a dangerous job and you weren't able to shoot back. You were taking pictures. So.
Yeah. Well, that's the way it goes.
I'd also like to say, for the record, that Millie Inger, who is Mr. Martin's daughter, has been present, and Joel Inger, who is Mr. Martin's son-in-law, is present, and they've both been a big help showing pictures and
Well,
helping
they
us with recollections.
remember things that I don't remember
that-
anymore.
That's good that we've had everybody involved, so we
Yes.
can get.
Well, you've
more
been telling
of
us these stories, and the one thing I'll tell you about his stories is he's been telling me the same stories for 20 years, so it must be they're true.
Yeah, I believe they are. And we are going to come back a subsequent day and get some copies of some of these pictures, because you've got so many, and we'll
Well, I
make sure we
tried
get
to
those
get
into the
the
history
captions
center.
on everything I could, but I don't have captions on all. See, I knew the boy that was writing up the captions,
Oh, okay.
and if I gave him a print, he would make up another caption for me to put on my picture.
Oh, well, that's been valuable in
Yeah.
recalling where everything was.
And the fellow next door, oh, he was a commander, full lieutenant. I think I got his picture somewhere. He was in charge of all the, oh. Did you show him my kids?
My kids? This is my boys. Is this the one you're talking about? Oh, your boys? Your kids?
That's my boys, and
No.
that's my little girl.
Yeah.
Oh. Tell us about these boys.
That's on the, when I was down where the lady was washing my clothes, and she had her kids down there.
Huh.
I thought that was cute. They were cute kids.
That's in Guam.
That's Rosa.
Oh, okay.
I think that those are the kids from Rosa and her,
Okay.
the woman that was doing your laundry, that wanted to sit your. And you told me she used to send you home with all those bananas all the time for the boys.
Yeah. I every time I went over to her house, she always gave me a stalk of bananas.
Oh, really?
And I get back and I just hang them up in the thing in the hut, and the guys would all come along and grab a banana.
You were popular.
Well, sure. And you'd be surprised. Bananas out there are about that big around and about this long. Not long, but
Really?
big.
Huh.
And they tasted good. And nobody argued the point.
Well, I want to thank you so much on behalf of the History Center and really behalf of the country for what you did,
Okay.
for your service, and particularly for
Well,
taking up your time
the
to
whole
talk to us
thing
today.
is, a lot of these pictures I sent back to my mother, and a lot of them I sent back to my wife. And I would write down on the box, I got 5 pictures in here, I got 6 pictures in here, and what they are. And if my mother got them or my wife got them, maybe they didn't like them or something, maybe they didn't bother to keep them.
So you could probably more that weren't kept.
Yeah. Well,
Well, thank you so much to you and your
what do I got here?
Well, he needs to get on to another appointment, but these are,
well, so we're running out of time on this.
yeah, it's just photographs of a Jack carrier getting hit,
Well, you know,
covered with fishnets to make it look
Yeah.
invisible.
Oh.